This is Ambient Weather's Jumbo Atomic Digital Wall Clock. Included with the wall clock are the instructions, which are relatively simple, and 4 AA batteries are required for this, but not included. This is a large wall clock, as you can see. It's approximately 17 by 11.5 inches in size, and about 1 inch thick for the clock itself. Here, let me turn that so you can see. But setup with this is relatively simple. It's basically once you put the batteries, which go in the back here, once you put the batteries in, the clock automatically attempts to connect to the atomic clock in 4 columns. Although the instructions themselves say it can take up to a week to connect, my clock made the connection within about 10 minutes, upon which it really went ahead and set itself. Although you may have to change the time zone like I did to get to the correct hour. I'm on the East Coast, so I did have to change that. So you may have to change that for the correct hour. But it did connect fairly quickly, considering I'm on the East Coast, and Fort Collins, I believe, is out in Colorado. So for the most part, this clock sets itself. So setup's pretty simple. You know, in terms of getting it up and running, but you do have the manual options as well. On the back of the clock here, let me bring that a little closer, you have the Fahrenheit, Celsius switch, a year switch, the radio control switch for turning that on or off, and a reset switch. And then the side of the clock here has the time setting, manual setting buttons, and the alarm setting buttons if you so choose to do that manually. You know, and setting it up manually is pretty simple. It's like standard of the same as for any clock, basically. But it was really, if you do the automatic, you know, atomic clock setting, there's really not a whole lot you need to do in terms of that. But the clock, like I said, has settings for an alarm clock as well. I'm really not sure how practical using this clock this size as an alarm clock would be, especially with the buttons the way they are. Let me turn it to the side. The buttons are kind of smooth to the side of the casing itself. The snooze button is here for the alarm. I don't think that's really a practical location for that, and because it's smooth with the, you know, with the surface of the case. I know for me personally, if I was using this as an alarm clock, I'd never find the snooze button. So, you know, typically those are raised. I mean, for me, the alarm feature is not that important, as I'm going to use this as a wall clock. I've got it on my desk, this desk right now, but I actually use this as a wall clock in my home office. So the alarm portion of that is not a very important feature for me. With that aside, this is a great clock for putting on a large wall or a large table, because there are, as you can see here, a couple flip-out legs if you want to put it on a desk as opposed to hanging it. The other thing is it's easy to mount because there's a nice large triangular slot there for hanging up as well. Like I said, I use it as a wall clock. So the one thing about this that it's missing, I think, though, is it doesn't have an optional power plug port, which makes for a nice cordless look on the wall, but I would have liked to have the option to do so, especially since you have the ability to put on a desk or a table. You know, I would have liked the option at least to have a power plug. You know, as you can see, the clock has a nice large display. It's 4-inch plus size letters on the top and numbers on the top setting here. You also have the signal connection that shows the signal strength to the atomic clock. In my case, it's a really good signal, the time zone. And then in about 2-inch size letterings, you have the date, current temperature and humidity. The temperature and humidity seem to be pretty accurate and consistent with my other thermometers in the home and weather stations I have in the home. It's pretty consistent with those. It's kind of a warm day here today, so but this is a nice looking clock. It's, for me, I like it because it's really great for a large wall. It has an easy to see display. I kind of do wish it had a backlight on it for that purpose, but yeah, again, that's a relatively minor thing. And again, I would like to see a wall plug option as well. But you know, easy to see display. The atomic clock connected quickly. The temperature and humidity appears to be accurate. I like this clock. I think it's pretty cool. I give it 4.5 stars.